At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
I don't think I'd want to deal with all this climbing. This is the loft?
I can't imagine what it was like for her to lose 2 sons after she'd already lost 2 brothers. Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Wait, looks like there's a pea spot. Ooh, more stairs.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Also shield. Wait. Not to be racist, but like part Indian.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation
Yep,
and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
I mean, they'd have to build it.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
This is the school. This is the schoolroom. They have to climb all the way up to the... It's not safe. The children. Imagine getting a baby.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Guess not a bill. I'm gonna guess.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Okay, let's see if we can get in. This is cool. All these rooms are ridiculously cool and big. My room isn't that big. Oh, that is. It's a skylight. It's a bunch of paint.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Is that like supposed to be something? Oh, it's like a flip book. Oh, those things are cool.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
She has a really good draw. For the stuff to get Louis, Dawn, Gus, and Eddie. That's a 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people. Or Dawn, Sanjay, I guess. It's the dad. But now, let's look at all the pictures. Oh, I guess we're done.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Oh. This is the door painting.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Looks like somebody fell. Oh, this is gonna be a story for later where someone falls off and dies. Another one of those. Okay, let's go this way, see if we can get in. I wonder if you're able to skip some characters by like accident. Oh, slide up. Wait, no, I'm gonna try again. It's like a boat. Oh, they literally like did a boat kinda and made it into. I like how she
Lewis's room smelled
glues the
very,
short.
very familiar. That
See.
part of him lived on.
But oh. Oh. Marijuana. Wait, whose was this? He was the tech. Oh, he is the double monitor. That's a nice headset. Got a decent mouse. His monitors suck. Oh, so this was for, I'm guessing.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to
Wander off.
wander.
Oh.
I asked him to describe it.
It's ridiculously hard.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
I don't know why I'm always need a dog friend.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
fish.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Mario.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
This is not easy. How do you do
He'd
this?
conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
Well, that's an actual
He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince.
You can like men.
The prince was on his own quest for
Radiant rainbow. No, I want radiant rainbow. Yes.
radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of his electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Emperor. The fish emperor.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
Some people like eating fish, or some people like eating fish.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
I don't know how much that's probably. You can believe all of it.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting me.
Raise those arms. Let's go.
His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Oh, jeez.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Killed himself. Oh, they haven't gone through Dawn? Oh, I thought this was Dawn, because... Doesn't it say Dawn? Oh, I guess not. It said Dawn somewhere, I thought it did. Let's go. Up, up, and away!
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Can I keep stepping over these? Ah.
But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
She didn't want to remember it. She wanted to forget.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Oh, they're about to go to Edith.
But it had to end one way or another.
Oh, I think we're at the top.
All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
That's the Sarah journal.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Oh, well, I'm supposed to go.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
I'm supposed to go to sleep.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
I'm supposed to walk. I was confused. I thought I was gonna like.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. I started seeing things.
Oh, the tide is coming back in.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
The house wasn't fully built. It was like partially constructed. Good they didn't just use the
Things
cement.
I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it.
Oh, I can control it. Oh, yeah.
A few years went by.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.
My mom didn't like to talk about it,
Shake it.
but
shake
she
it.
started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
That's what you get. That's what she gets.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Oh.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
Ooh, this is... Are we gonna go in a really quick scene? Like, zoom.
This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Wait, what? That was a whole... Oh, what? That was a whole different life. Oh my gosh, it changes everything. I didn't even get everybody. I didn't get everybody. Aw.